Hello, Frog fans. Welcome back to Season 3 of Postgame Beers podcast. We are your Lupton Drinking Club. I'm your host, Kyle Malloy, at YellMK on Twitter. We have our master of activities, Jacob Sailors, at JD Sailors, in addition to our producer, Crazy Ray Cartwright. We also have the Sultan of Stat, Martin Guerrero, and joining us shortly, once he gets shit figured out, the horse, Garrett Evans. This podcast is brought to you by our good friends at Hell's Half Acre Stadium Goods. More on our sponsor at our break. But a full crew on hand tonight. Postgame Beers first launched on Valentine's Day of 2022. And fortunately, or I guess unfortunately for some of y'all, we're still here.
Yeah, we're not canceled. We made it to Season 3.
That's right. Jacob.
How did we survive the first 5 episodes?
Stubbornness. That's how. Nothing to lose.
Our lawyers were involved. It's been a long run. But Jacob, last year we had a lot of really interesting guests on our show. Your most memorable, or maybe your favorite. Here's a few just to remember.
Yeah, jog my memory here.
Who we had in Season 2. We had 2 folks from D1, Mike Rooney and Kendall Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
We had 11.7's Ben Upton. Great guy.
I missed that one, but I really enjoyed hearing you guys do that interview.
We had our Heisman favorite, Max Duggan.
That's your answer right there.
And then we can't forget our TCU executive committee, Jeremiah Donati. We had TJ Bruce, assistant coach, as well as our head coach, Kirk Solos.
I'll give you my top 3. So Max Duggan, number 1, that was an unbelievable experience. Like, I could have had him on for another hour and not been bored. That was awesome. Number 2, I'm going to go TJ Bruce. He's just a really cool and interactive guy. I mean, I like all of our guests from last year. I did not enjoy, a single one of them. But number 3, here's one you probably don't expect. Ryan Nanny.
There you go.
The hot tub celebrity.
Fun, yeah.
That's an underrated episode. That was right after the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah,
that was a really fun episode. But yeah, I really enjoyed all the guests. So big shout out to them. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to getting more guests on, especially now since we're entering baseball season. It is day 1 of baseball for us.
I'm not sure if our folks have been following on Facebook or Twitter, but Martin's doing an excellent job with our 50-day countdown.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing you're doing.
We sit at 43 days, until our first game on February 16th versus Florida Gulf Coast. Over the next 6 weeks, we're going to be bringing you guys just a ton of stuff, a bunch of content, a brief breakdown of every Big 12 team. These won't be full episodes, just kind of short interludes and kind of what the team.
3 teams per episode.
3 teams per episode. Few nuggets you should remember, as well as a full breakdown of the pitchers and the offense, just like we did last year, which I think are some of my favorite because I learned a ton.
Right.
Just talking to you guys about that. And lastly, we're going to work on some fun guests as well to kind of bring you a different, ideally more informed perspective on the team. But first, Ray, Martin, Garrett, Merry Christmas, fellas.
Hey, Happy
Merry
New Year.
Christmas and Happy New Year.
Do you guys have a good Boxing Day? It's an underrated holiday, in my opinion. Do you know what I learned this? I learned this over the holiday, what the history of Boxing Day is. It's for everyone who couldn't get off work on Christmas Day. So they got off on the 26th. So it was like their Christmas Day. They called it Boxing Day.
Nah, that's not it. That's not
what I heard.
At all.
That's
No.
what I heard.
The ordination of Boxing Day is for people to donate unused stuff. Like, they get so much stuff at Christmas, and you box up your old stuff and donate it.
That makes a lot more sense, actually.
Sounds like a fake holiday.
Okay. Well, whatever. I drank mimosas in bed and watched soccer.
How did the Cherries do?
They won that day.
Heck yeah. The old Tottenhams didn't play, but they've been in a bad way. Although, didn't we have a nice win over the Cherries?
I don't know. I slept in that day. I missed the whole game.
That's not why we're here today.
No, it's not. Does anybody have anything like super interesting from the holidays? Garrett, weren't you in Disney, or was that before the holiday? I don't remember.
We did Disney. Gosh, we haven't done this in a minute.
No, we've been out for a month.
Yeah, I was in Disney just before the holidays. So we did a week, did a park a day. It was dude, it was so much fun. I was pretty worried about it, taking the little guy, and didn't know how that was going to go. There's lots of potential pitfalls there, but we soldiered on, and we had a great time, man. It was really cool.
Hey, shout out real quick to the stream, to the chat. Thank you guys for joining. It makes it a lot of fun reading y'all's comments. I know we can't get to all of them, but we do definitely try. So keep the comments coming and be part of the show.
Jackson Day, we've got Jackson Day Jr. and we've got TikTok Tim in there already. Jackson Day mentioned something about boxing. He grew up in England. Boxing Day is an elite holiday. It was for the wealthy to box up stuff they weren't using.
Okay,
give out to the working class. That's pretty awesome.
There you go. Okay,
I thought Ray made that up.
That's all right. Maybe it's both.
Excellent. Well, it's great to see you guys. I missed you. It's been a while since we were on the stream together. And
I hope you guys enjoyed your break from podcasting, because it's time to get busy leading up to first pitch.
We are expecting to have 1 to 2 episodes released a week until that February 16th game, and then continue that throughout the season. So I'm pretty jacked up. Renewing my tickets today. And I cannot wait. I'm
going to keep my tradition of renewing them the day of the first game.
But you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that phone call from TCU Athletics.
Oh, dude, they've been blowing me up, man.
I've gotten like 3 already. I'm just been kind of kicking that can on down the road, baby.
My buddy Ryan, who keeps leaving messages. I hope you're listening, but Ryan, I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
I will call you back eventually. I promise.
All right, want to get into it?
We want to jump right into the breakdowns. All right. So tonight we're jumping into 3 teams: Oklahoma State, Houston, and University of Central Florida, a couple newcomers to the Big 12. Each team is going to be broken down by one of our guys, and every week someone will have an off day. So tonight, that's Gary. You can sit back, listen, ask questions. But we're going to start off with Central Florida, UCF. This is actually a team that TCU is not playing this year, but still worth talking about because they're a newcomer to the league. So Ray, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, fellas, how we doing?
Hey, Ray.
Everyone good?
Hey, Ray.
I'm ready to learn, Ray.
Loving the energy.
So when Rich Wallace was at Florida State, no, I'm kidding. So let's take a step back before we look forward. Last year, Central Florida, 33-26 on the year. They were 12-12 in the American Athletic Conference. Only 8 baseball teams. That was good enough for an 8th place finish.
Rough.
Yikes.
Now, they were having a pretty good year. They had an early season sweep over Clemson. They swept Florida State in the midweek.
That was at Clemson, and they ran the hill on the football stadium after the Sunday sweep.
Yeah, that was kind of John Reese Plumlee's coming out party.
Yeah, that's right.
He was a big player in that, and then I think he got dinged up towards the middle of the year, and it just kind of they never recovered. But some fun facts, some fun things coming out of last year's schedule. They did go 6-6 against Cincinnati and Houston, both of them Big 12 newcomers. They played Wichita State and our good friend Peyton Tolley, and they lost 2 of 3 to the Shockers.
Did Tolley pitch in one of those games?
Man, I should have checked if he pitched. I definitely checked if his batting stats.
We can give you 5 minutes if you want to Google that stuff.
Nice.
Garrett can. Garrett has a bye week this week from research, so
look up who pitched. I know he had kind of a slow weekend at the plate. It was 3 for 14 on the weekend. A couple runs batted in, a couple runs scored. They did lose a midweek game to the Fighting Mosielos last year.
Oh, yeah?
Ohio State. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah, got shut out by the Fighting Bills.
I hope Ohio State has a good year this year.
I do too. Big Ten baseball is about to get a little more interesting here.
Yeah.
Once conference realignment happens. But all that to say that 33-26 record, 12-12 in conference play, got Coach Greg Lovejoy fired.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wow. Happy trails, Coach Lovejoy.
R.I.P. Coach Lovejoy. That brings us to the Golden Knights. The Knights, not the Golden Knights.
That's right, isn't it? Or is that just is that Vegas?
Vegas.
I think that's Vegas. Same thing.
The Stars game on in the background and have hockey on. Just a puckhead. So they hired Rich Wallace to oversee their program. Rich Wallace was an assistant coach last year at Florida State, on Link Jarrett's staff at Notre Dame. And a couple of years before that, he was actually an assistant coach at UC. So there's your tie-in for Central Florida. I think one of the cool, interesting hires he made to his staff is Drew Thomas. Have any of y'all heard the name Drew Thomas before?
No.
No, sir.
Drew Thomas, 2016 pitching coach of Coastal Carolina
Ouch.
Chattanooers.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's a TCU tie-in then.
And another TCU tie-in. Coach Thomas comes to Central Florida from the Milwaukee Brewers organization, where last year he was Russ Smith's pitching coach.
Shout out.
All right.
Big
Or
Russ.
He got promoted to AA. So, yeah.
Okay.
A couple of TCU tie-ins with old Coach Thomas. I reached out to Russ about him. Says he's a good dude.
Yeah, another
believe
good
it.
interview from last year.
Yeah. Russ is fun. Let to get him back on.
So go. You're probably going to get to it. I'm curious. Sorry if I'm cutting ahead, but do they have a good squad or?
I don't know.
They lost a lot of guys in the portal, right, to Florida State.
Yeah, they lost. They got a lot of transfers on this squad, so I assume that means that a lot exited out. But I think it all depends on. I think the biggest question around UCF right now is whether or not John Reese Plumlee will be playing for them this year.
Okay.
As he has to decide between baseball this spring or preparing for the NFL draft.
So is he the only returning talent name that we should be expecting to hear about, or do you think there's going to be somebody else that pops?
No, I think their catcher's really good. He's got especially hitting. He is an elite hitting catcher. I think he's could contend with Carson Bowen for best catcher in the Big 12.
Careful now.
Last year he hit 340, 16 home runs, a 1054 ops. It's pretty salty from behind the plate.
We'll
They
see
ain't
what
playing
happens in a
no-
big boy league like the Big 12.
Yeah, they ain't
Yeah,
playing
now-
with
Yeah.
ball.
Now, yeah, pitching's a little different here.
He's never met a Cole Klecker or a Ben Abel before.
Offensively, they're okay. Their first baseman's got a fun name, Lex Bodicker. I
Okay.
think if you were making an all Big 12 name team, he would definitely be manning first for you. But I think
the LDC all Big 12 name.
yeah, hey, just jot that down. Maybe we should do that. Write that down. Hey, producer, write that down.
So one of the things we wanted to get to, I know you said you weren't sure if they're going to be good, but we wanted to break them down into different categories. Okay, so contender, they basically potential to win the league. A dark horse candidate who can absolutely do it. Scrappy, annoying, or a bottom feeder. Where would you put them, Ray, in those 5 categories?
I'd put them just above bottom feeder, but at the low end of scrappy.
Okay.
I mean, this was a middle of the pack AAC team last year. I don't see much improvement. Now, they did get some interesting transfers in. Tyler Nesbitt from Florida, who was 1-0 last year with a 2.96 ERA and 3 starts for the Gators. It could be something. It's the Big 12 baseball's loaded, right? And any of these 4 new teams that are coming in, it's just going to be a tough go.
Yeah,
for them.
I don't expect much from any of them.
I kind of wish we were playing them, to be honest.
Yeah, so Martin talked about that. It would be good as far as wins and losses, but it also hurts our RPI.
Yeah.
I will say I did take a peek at their schedule. I kind of laughed at the notion of the Big 12 sending Texas to Central Florida.
Yeah,
That
that is funny for some reason. Do they have a good stadium? Do we know anything about their baseball stadium?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Martin's booking his trip for next year, but until then, we won't know anything about it.
I hope we do not
Speak-
play them for a while.
Only in Fort Worth. They can come to
I
Fort
wanna
Worth.
go to Arizona next year or Utah. I'm not next year. 2025.
I will say, looking at their schedule, their non-conference is built for wins.
So boring.
They've got Bryant to open the year, Samford, not Stanford, Samford.
Those
And
are pretty
his
good
son.
RPI teams, though.
They didn't do much for me.
Sanford
South
is
Florida.
pretty good.
South Florida is okay.
They have
They're
midweeks
all right.
against Miami and Florida, looks like.
They go to Miami and they go to Florida. They have a home and home with Stetson in the midweek, and they've got Florida Gulf Coast. Their midweek schedule is more exciting than their non-conference schedule by far. They've got also one of those weird. I thought the Big 12 was doing away with this, but they've got a midweek or they've got a non-conference series in the middle of April, which I thought we were done with that with the extra teams, but I guess not.
It might have been scheduled ahead of time, you know? I mean,
Yeah. And as a further joke, they get to go to Oklahoma to start their Big 12 schedule. They get to go to
Yes.
that dump of a ballpark.
all right. Ray, that was pretty good. Any other final thoughts on UCF?
I actually am excited to see that catcher and whether or not John Reese Plumlee, because if he does play, that's a boost to them. He's pretty good. I think he
It's a
could
name,
either-
if nothing else.
it's someone
it's
to
a
watch.
draw just in his name.
Especially with them
He was-
losing, they lost Jack Leiter's cousin. He was like their best pitcher last year. So I did kind of want to see him in the Big 12, but he transferred to Florida State.
Hey, didn't Jack Leiter just get traded? Speaking of the Leiter family,
Did he?
is that or was that just a rumor?
Is that breaking news? I haven't heard that.
Me neither. I haven't heard that.
Thought I saw something. He was traded at the Red Sox,
Breaking live on LGC.
Yeah,
but it could have been a fake tweet.
that's
I
a
get
pretty
fooled by
good. That's a pretty good UCF recap or preview, I guess. Not recap.
Thanks, Ray.
Well done, Ray.
Next up on the docket, we've got the University of Houston from Houston, Texas. Jacob, take us away.
All right, so I was a little excited to research Houston. I guess growing up playing baseball in Texas, I always thought like Houston, it's a big school in the state of Texas. I always thought of them as kind of like, you know, a really kind of a premier program, I guess, just on name brand alone. I'm not sure why I thought that, guys, because researching this team, I may have found the most boring, like mundane program in all of America.
Perfect.
There is not anything interesting about the Houston Cougars. Their ballpark sucks. It's all AstroTurf, and they have like the fake dirt patches around the bases.
Oh no.
Is that a money thing? Why would they have AstroTurf in Houston?
I guess because of the rain.
I guess that makes sense. They probably would get a lot of pulling tarp out there.
But it's
Dude,
just it's like the ugly looking AstroTurf.
Dude,
The
it's
humidity
so
is
ugly.
terrible.
It's so ugly, and the carpet on the mound. is
Oh my
so
God.
ugly.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
all around hideous. Listen to their recent history. They haven't been to Omaha since 1967.
Oh,
And they've only been twice total. And the time before that, I didn't make a note of this, but either in 1967 or the time before that, like in the 50s, there wasn't even like a regional. or anything, or at least it didn't state there was. So not being to Omaha since 1967, I'm just going to say, like, really haven't been to Omaha. Is that fair?
This
Yeah,
is
I
like
think-
claiming a national championship from 1938. You know?
Yeah,
So
they haven't made a regional since 2018. Their best team that I saw was their 2014 team. They finished the regular season as RPI number 5. But despite that, they were a 2 seed in the Baton Rouge regional. They beat they beat LSU
Yikes.
to win that regional, and then lost to Texas in supers.
That's a rough schedule.
They were
right there.
anchored that year by ace Jake Lemoyne, who was drafted in the 4th round by the Texas Rangers. He pitched a handful of innings out of the bullpen for Oakland and is no longer in the league.
R.I.P.
That's about it. That's about it for the history of the Houston Cougar baseball program.
Well, tell us about the head coach, Todd Whitting.
All right, so he's going into his 14th season. He was at the helm for that 2014 team, but recently they've either been bad or just barely 500. Sticking with the boring theme from last year, listen to their record. So they were 36-23. They were 17-6 in the conference, which isn't bad, but they were 17-11 at home, 15-8 on the road, and 4-4 on neutral site. Just blah numbers all the way around, pretty much. They got spanked by OU in a 3-game series, and then followed it up the next Tuesday with a loss to Aggie. They did get a sweep against Minnesota on the road. I guess that's cool. And they actually won a series at home against number 8 ECU. So there's some highlights. Now,
No
Can
regional, though.
I
because of
stop
that.
you? Can I stop you for a second
yeah, go ahead.
and interject? When we're talking about these standings, Houston pretty good, American AAC run. Same with UCF. They're pretty middle of the pack. This is the same conference that had Tulane win the baseball tournament and get the auto bid.
Yes.
And then
They stole a bid, right? I mean, they finished in the bottom of the AAC.
they finished
7th
in conference at 8-16.
And it was Houston's fault that they got to the final.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go next. So in the tourney, they beat Wichita State, Memphis, and Tulane, and then Tulane eliminated them to end their season, and then Tulane went on to win the tournament.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that Tulane went 2-Q in the regional.
Yeah,
So
wasn't their first game pretty? Didn't they win their first game actually?
I thought they got close and like blew a late lead or something.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Yeah, if I'm remembering right. I didn't research Tulane, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
They finished the season with an RPI of 103, and as I said, they missed the tournament. So
Interesting. What about interesting matchups this coming?
Well,
outside
I'll
of the
get
Big
there.
12?
I'll
Okay.
get there, but just to cap off last year. So Ray mentioned Peyton Tolley playing against UCF. He also played. He pitched against them 3 times.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was going to start this off by saying there's one Horned Frog on the roster that probably doesn't want to see Houston this year, because in 3 games last year, our Peyton Tolley, he pitched 13 2/3 innings, gave up 21 hits, 11 earned runs, 4 walks, 9 Ks, and was 0-3. And he was 1 for 15 at the plate against them. So
How did our other new Horned Frog, Kyle Ayers, do?
yeah, I actually didn't check. I forgot. I just thought of Tolley. I didn't think of Kyle Ayers. But yeah, he was.
the name.
Yeah.
The revenge tour begins.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
all
right, brother.
So MK wants to know about their schedule. All right, so they have a very bad non-conference for the most part. There's an exception. They do play a tourney game against Vanderbilt.
Is that in Houston at the Shriners?
Yes. Yes. it is.
Shriners no longer in Houston. Shriners is in Arlington now. I don't know
Oh,
what they're
that's
calling that
true.
tournament in Houston, but the Shriner Classic will be played at Globe Life Field in
Yep.
Arlington.
Huh.
Yeah. They have non-conference series against Binghamton, St. John's, UTA, and Rice.
Those aren't real names.
Hey, Garrison Berkeley, I think.
Yeah, if he's still there.
Binghamton.
They play other single matchups against UTSA, Texas State, Louisiana Lafayette, and Texas A&M.
Binghamton has a
Ooh-la-la.
badass ballpark. Somebody
Hey.
somebody anonymously donated like $60 million for them to build a brand new baseball stadium.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe we can
Dude,
do an
it's-
LDC fundraiser to do the same for Lupton. We can.
Yeah.
It's better than most ballparks in the Big 12.
So we can
Dang.
trash talk the team this year about Binghamton.
Could you
I just
imagine
don't
if we?
know. I don't know if it's finished yet, but I've seen the renderings. The renderings came out like last year, and it's badass.
Yeah,
Golly.
that's. I knew Binghamton rang a bell for some reason, and that's why.
Is it Binghamton or Binghamton?
Binghamton.
They're
the-
Binghamton.
I was Binghamton.
The Houston thing is called the Astros Foundation College Classic now.
That's a word salad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jacob, I have a question for you.
All right, go for it.
How the hell does Todd still have a job?
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, it'd be tough to fire him if they struggled this year, since it's first year in the new conference. It seems like he has a job because no one's paying attention to the baseball program.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think is the same reason. What's his name still had a job on the football team, on the football head coach.
Oh,
Oh,
Dana.
Dana.
Yeah,
Dana Carvey.
I think they just didn't want to make a move,
It's a
I
lot
mean,
of work. You have to interview new candidates.
and they don't care about baseball that much. It's the same thing with the Kansas baseball head coach. He was there for 20 years, and Kansas fans were like, "We deserve better," and I was like, "Why? You haven't done shit. Doesn't look like you care about baseball."
Yeah, I think Houston's putting all their eggs into basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So Coach Whitting spent some time at TCU. Do we have any concerns about some sign stealing back in the
Let me.
the knots?
What was your question?
If they're stealing 10-year-old signs,
Because Todd Whitting was the assistant coach, associate head coach from 2004 2010 at TCU.
Yeah, I think we've changed it. We have a new pitching coach now, so. All right. So check out their conference schedule. So they start off with Baylor and BYU, which isn't so bad.
That's a good way. That's a pretty good way to start conference play. You're
Absolutely.
competitive.
Well, they're going to pay for it after
They're
that.
going to be feeling themselves.
because they're home against K-State, at
L.
TCU, at
L.
Tech, and
L.
home against Texas.
L.
Four
They may not win a game the rest of their weekend
They
series.
may not win a game.
They play
then-
UCF later on.
Yeah, they're at Cincy, home against UCF, at Kansas, and then home against Oklahoma State.
That's a pretty rough.
Dude, they're going to
match.
battle Baylor for worst in the conference.
They have quite the stretch
Do they
there,
play
dude.
Baylor?
Yeah, they.
So
That's
quickly,
brutal.
let me get through this long list of key players. It begins and ends with pitcher, first baseman Justin Murray. Now he's a pretty good player. So
What's his name?
Justin Murray.
Murray. Okay.
He was first team all conference AAC, and he was also the newcomer of the year last year after transferring from Dartmouth. He closes games for them. He's a really, really good hitter. I think he was, let's see if I can pull up his stats real quick. Bear with me.
Sounds like he's really
Definitely.
smart. Is he going to compete for all academic Big 12?
Yes, he was all academic Big 12.
he's definitely not first team all name.
No, it's a pretty boring name, but he did hit 379 and had an ops of 1.020. So
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
pretty
good little
stellar.
player.
He closes games for them too. And on that note, I don't know if he'll move to the rotation because their pitching is a mess. It was basically just pitching by committee last year. I think their innings leader was like just over 60 innings. And to put that in context, Cole Klecker was like near 100 last year as a freshman.
Wow.
So they will switch arms in and out because all their pitchers are pretty bad.
Sounds like Baylor.
Yeah. So I have them at their ceiling. They can be annoying, but more likely I have them as a bottom feeder.
Yeah, they got big bottom feeder energy.
Yeah, you don't really
You
want
cannot
to.
lie.
Like, they play all the contenders, and you don't want to drop a series to Houston.
Very
I do
similar
have some.
to
I do have some fun facts for you.
Let's hear it.
I love fun facts.
All
Now
right,
the good part.
So, do you know how they came up with the name Cougars as a mascot?
Connor Bedard's mom.
Okay, so back in 1927, they had a professor named John Bender who came over to teach after being the head football coach at Washington State. And for some reason, he got to pick the nickname of the school.
So he just picked the exact same thing?
Yes.
The
Wait
Big
a second.
Ten literally cannot.
I thought
add
you were going to say something
Ah,
like,
damn.
I've got an idea.
Cougars
I've got an
live
idea.
in South Texas. Nope.
There,
We'll just-
Wherever I go next, I'm suggesting the Horned Frogs. That's all I got.
yeah.
Guys, I had this phenomenal idea.
How about the Cougars?
And they have just a different shade of red too.
They ask him what name he's thinking, and he just looks at the wall at his diploma.
Or he's still wearing like a Washington State pullover. And
Yeah, he's got the
I don't know, Cougars.
Q zip on.
Why y'all asking me? I just got here.
First mascot that comes to your head. Go.
All
Was
right,
he coming off a bender whenever he made that name?
Next fun fact.
nothing to confirm that, Ray. Their last first round pick, and from what I saw, maybe their only first round pick was Brad Lincoln. He won the Dick Hauser Trophy back in 2006, which I assumed to mean he was the best pitcher in the country. He was, like I said, he was a first round pick of the Pirates. He signed with the Pirates and immediately started to have arm problems.
Ooh, that'll happen in Pittsburgh.
He pitched a total of 222 innings over 5 years and then promptly exited Major League Baseball.
What about Michael Bourne? Was he drafted?
He didn't come up on my radar. Do you know anything about him?
He played there like in the mid 2000s, I think. I just thought it was interesting because he played for the Astros as well.
I don't know, man.
Is he related to Jason Bourne?
Oh, for sure.
Man, dude, he's a badass.
The best player I ever saw or I ever played against in high school got a scholarship to Houston, and he didn't make it through fall ball. That's another fun fact. And finally, the last fun fact I could find about
You got a pretty good team.
That is Division 6-5A baseball at its finest.
The final fun fact I have for you: Doug Drabeck is an alum. And I put a frown face like at the end of it, like this is sad. I can't find anything fun on this school.
Hey, question: Do we think that Lance Berkman could ever be a coach there?
Hey, Houston, why not? I mean, I guess if they started to care.
Because why would he want to?
If they gave a semblance of a shit, then maybe, sure.
He really wants to be the coach at like Rice or Texas or something.
Well, those are two complete opposite ends of the school spectrum.
Yeah. I mean, he's at Houston Baptist.
Yeah.
Houston
No.
Christian,
Houston Christian now.
come on now.
Yeah.
Hey, they're playing Houston Christian this year.
Anyway, so that's your Houston Cougars. So welcome to the conference, Houston.
Yeah, go sit
Thanks,
in the
Jacob.
corner.
Basically,
Oh,
don't drop a game to Houston. That's what I've learned. Today.
Yeah, definitely don't lose the series.
Don't
How-
drop the series to Houston.
How much, like, do you think teams like Central Florida and Houston will kill the Big 12's RPI?
It's not going to help there, buddy.
It's not going to help.
But I mean, that's
Like-
like 4. So that's 4 teams. How many baseball teams did we have before? 9. And we lose Texas and Oklahoma. So that's almost half the conference is these new shitty teams.
Yeah, but we're getting Arizona and Arizona State.
That's true.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's going to be lower. It has to be.
Yeah, it's going to be lower.
But I think, well, I don't know. I would say Arizona and Arizona State are pretty comparable RPI wise to not really Texas, but definitely Oklahoma.
I mean, OU went to the national championship 2 years ago. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Damon says, imagine if this Houston professor who named the Cougars was an ex-Illinois, Hawaii, or Ohio State professor.
Hold on. What is Illinois' mascot? What are they?
The
Illini.
The Illini.
Yeah. How
What
the
is it?
hell-
What the
Rainbow
heck is an
Warriors would have been
Illini?
good. The
Yeah.
Houston Rainbow Warriors.
That actually would have been okay. All the humidity on there, you can see the rainbows.
Okay, but that would be more interesting than the Cougars.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like their nickname is as boring as their program.
Tracks.
Great recap, Jacob.
Thank
Let's
you.
take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. If you go to Hell's Half Acre SG, that stands for Stadium Goods, Hell's Half Acres SG.com/Lupton Drinking Club. Part of your purchase will head back to us so we can continue bringing some awesome content to you. Will that fund a trip to Stillwater? Maybe Austin? Only time will tell. I'm wearing my white Horned Frog snapback right now. It's actually one of my favorite hats. It's kind of my go-to when I walk out the door. So anybody else got
I'm pretty
any
pumped.
thoughts
I'm
on
pretty pumped
Half
for
Acre?
my baseball button
Right
up.
here, baby. Rocking it tonight.
There we
There you
go.
go.
It's one of my
There you go.
favorite hats.
And if you bought some, I don't know if you guys saw this, but if you bought some goods this last year, Steven sent us a little Christmas gift, a little $5, $10, $15 off, depending on how much you
Oh.
spent.
Shoot, I gotta check my mail then.
Yeah, it's in your inbox. So look
All
out for
right.
that. So the more that you spent,
Sweet.
the more you got off for your next purchase.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks to Hell's Half Acre. All right, Martin, we got one team left, and this is going to be a fun one. So Oklahoma State, I've heard of them, but why don't you tell us more about them? More about it.
Yeah, so in 2023 they finished 41-20, and they finished the season with a 23rd overall RPI. They finished the regular season in a three-way tie for first in the Big 12. They made the Big 12 Conference Championship game final, getting obliterated by TCU 12-5.
Yeah, they like ran out of pitching, making that run to the Big 12.
I think they really didn't care about actually winning it because I think they had, in their mind, solidified a hosting bid.
Was there something crazy that had to happen for that three-way tie to happen at the end of
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah, I
Refresh
think
my
it's
memory.
because of West Virginia.
Hmm.
West Virginia.
Yeah,
was
didn't
like-
they get swept by Texas? Like all they had to do was win
Yeah.
one against Texas.
Yeah,
That's it.
One.
I think
West
that's it,
Virginia
right?
fumbled the bag really bad last year. I mean, they had like a 7-game lead with like 2 or 3 weeks to go, and they blew it. And then Texas and Oklahoma State tied. And then they went 0-2 in the Stillwater Regional, losing to Oral Roberts and DBU.
Man,
They are 0-3 in regionals since 2019, and that includes 2 that they hosted.
Yeah, but well, I mean, you just don't beat Arkansas in regional baseball. Come on now.
was it 20? Was it
What are you talking
2017?
about?
Was it 2017 when we had 3 teams in the Big 12 go with
2016.
2016? Okay.
Yeah.
TCU,
And we had-
TCU Tech and Oklahoma State.
We had, I think it was TCU. I'm not sure. It was definitely TCU and Oklahoma State because they were in the Final Four. Like we were getting to a point where they might have played each other for a national championship, but they both lost to Arizona and Coastal.
Gross.
Forgot what I was going to say. I'll continue.
It's all good. We're not live or anything.
Yep. I can edit this out, Martin, later.
Yeah,
So some schedule notes.
There's a 30-second pause around.
we can
the,
just start over if we want.
Yeah, let's start over. No Baylor or
countdown.
Kansas this year, but they
Oh.
play all 4 new Big 12 teams.
Oh, there you go.
The second weekend of the
Bounces.
season, they play a tournament in Arlington. It's not Shriners, but
That's
they
the one we
play-
had last year, right?
Is it the College Classic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the College Classic deal, I think.
Globe Life is hosting like 3 weekends of college baseball. The first one is the opening weekend is the Shriners one. I don't know what they call the other 2. but
I
they're
think
playing.
TCU's in the College Showdown. Does that sound right? With
They're in the third one with Arizona State and USC and Texas A&M.
So typically, the Globe Life will have the College Showdown, which is like elite, and then they'll do kind of like a lesser tier tournament. I know.
and they're doing a bunch of midweek games too.
Yeah, that's normal too. Because I always give a shout out to Chuck Morgan for calling like 12 games in 5 days or something.
It's really funny when they do like Abilene Christian versus UT Arlington, and it's on.
Yeah, and there's 40 people there.
There's
if
all
that.
parents.
Yeah, it's all parents.
Yeah, and there's like a link that they tweet. Like
But
anybody can watch it.
But at least you can watch it for free over like Flow Sports, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, yeah, it's like $60 for the tournament or whatever.
That's what our USC games are on in Arizona State.
That's absolutely brutal.
That's disgusting.
and it
You
sounds so empty. There's such an echo because there's nobody there, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
You can hear 'em- you can hear 'em spitting in the dugout.
Yeah. All right, so they play Michigan, Arkansas, and Oregon State. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Oregon State, huh? That's it's a fun one.
Yeah, and Arkansas and Michigan too.
Man, Arkansas's good.
Out of conference series, they play Sam Houston State, Central Michigan, and Mercer.
Dude, what is Central Michigan doing? Central Michigan also plays UCF, so I guess you got to balance the good with the bad.
They can't play until May up there.
Yeah. I feel like Oklahoma State's like always playing Central Michigan though. I think they lost to them in football a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say they play them in football.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure
wasn't that
did.
on a
They
last
sure
second
did.
Hail Mary?
Yes.
No, it was on that
Yes.
like lateral play.
Yeah, it was that one that looks like it looks like it was like a video game. They were lateral it all the way down the field.
Mike Gundy always loses 2 games to garbage, and then they finish 10-2 every year.
I know.
Yeah, they're calling for his head, and then somehow they're playing for a conference
Dude, we
championship.
called for his head on this podcast, and I don't think they lost another game.
See, midweek they play 2 games against Oral Roberts, 2 games against DBU.
Revenge. Oh, regional revenge.
Yeah, and then Wichita State, and then they also play a midweek game against OU, similar to our Baylor thing.
So do
I
they
wonder
play
if
4 times?
Gray Thomas
Yeah.
will pitch in that midweek game.
And they play all of the new schools, Martin.
Yeah, they play all of the new schools. They just don't play Baylor or Kansas this year.
I mean, so it balances out. Although I think Kansas will be better than any of those new
Yeah.
schools.
I think Kansas is going to be pretty good, but you'll have to wait until I break down Kansas.
I'll be waiting with anticipation.
Yeah.
All right, key departures: Rock Riggio,
Oh,
Second
thank
baseman.
God.
God.
first
That
team
dude was
All-Big 12.
annoying as fuck.
Dude, he was annoying as fuck, and we only played him 1 year. So he was like a draft eligible sophomore.
And he wouldn't leave.
He missed the first series his freshman year against TCU when we went up there. He missed that series because he was injured. And then last year was his sophomore year, and he was annoying as fuck.
Yeah, he was.
Dude, wait,
he's
he
a
was
good
only
player.
there 2 years? Good God, I thought he was there forever.
Just 2 years.
That's
Who's-
a long 2 years.
Do they have a badass two-way player this year?
Yeah, he's a returner. But so to finish the key departures, so Rock Riggio, first team All Big 12. Then you have Isaac Stebbins was their key bullpen piece. He was second team All Big 12. Chase Atkinson, he was there forever. He was second team All Big 12. Nolan McClain was a two-way player. He played like third base, outfield. And
Yeah, I
he was a
won't miss him
reliever.
either.
You what?
I won't miss him.
Nah, he's pretty good. Struck out a shitload. David Mendham, first base, he was really good. Jerron Watts Brown, he was their Friday night starter, but he kind of sucked.
Jackson Day said about Rock Reggio, the dude plays baseball like a burner account.
That's funny.
That's the best kind.
That's
Dude,
really
I mean, how fractured do you think his ego was losing a regional at home to Oral Roberts?
I love it.
dude. That's why he went to the draft instead
Yeah,
of coming
dude.
back.
You can't show your face in Oklahoma after that.
Gotta
Hey,
get out, baby.
It's hard to talk smack about Oral Roberts when you lost the first game in Omaha, but yeah.
We put a stake
yeah.
in their heart, though. We can talk all we want.
And weren't they like 0-3 against them during the season as well?
Yeah, dude. That's why a lot of people like in Curry Cup didn't pick Oklahoma State.
Fuck no. That was poison pill right there. Like, pick anybody but Oklahoma State. Anyways, they also so Jerome Watts Brown was their Friday night starter, but he struggled.
Yeah, dude,
Marcus
we lit
Brown
him
was
up.
their starting shortstop. He's gone.
Man, that's a lot to lose. Like, I
it
know we
sounds-
lost a lot,
It
but
sounds like a lot, but man, they got a lot of returners, returning position players that it's kind of crazy. So their biggest thing is that they're losing they must replace 5 of 6 pitchers who threw more than 35 innings
wow.
in 2023.
So that's their downfall then, right? I mean,
The pitching is like all brand new, but it sucked. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's definitely a question mark. Their season ERA last year was 5.41 as a team.
It's like the opposite of the Gary Patterson quote.
yep, absolutely. So to
What was
reference
the Gary
that,
Patterson quote?
it
He
was
said-
basically like we lost 7
No,
or
he
8
said,
games.
okay, no. He said, the good news is we got everybody coming back. The bad news is we were 7-5 and we got everybody coming back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Gary.
So great.
It's true though.
So the team that from last year, they lost 4 of their top 5 strikeout prone hitters, which made like things kind of crazy when I was looking at their returners, because these guys strike out a ton, but they hit like 350 all of them and like slug 500. I found this interesting. So you know how they have that new ballpark since 2020?
Yeah.
Yep.
So their average OPS as a team since 2020.
Well, since
2021.
2021.
Yeah, their average OPS as a team since 2021, 0.897. I looked at the 4 years before in their old stadium, 2016 to 2019, 0.789. So it's like
Yeah,
100%.
That place is a bandbox, man.
Yeah, it's like 100-point increase.
So basically,
yeah.
just real quick, OPS, Martin.
On base plus slugging.
There you go. So it's a hitter's park.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Big
Luke
dude.
Boyers
It's
hit
unreal.
one like 450.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many weird home runs in that series we went up there and saw.
So
Yeah, the weirdest one was Tommy Sacco.
I know.
The one that was bending foul and then bent back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of gives me pause with all their offensive numbers, like what they look like. You know, how much is it being pushed up by playing in a bandbox like that? And with all the new pitchers coming in, they're basically replacing like their whole pitching staff, and they don't really know who it's going to be. So I just don't see how you can build a brand new pitching staff like that when they're going to be getting rocked.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you go out and just pitch guys that don't pitch to contact.
It could be a situation where they're really going to struggle early and then maybe they come around late in the season in conference play.
When do we play them?
They host us on March 22nd.
So we get them early ish. Yeah, it's early.
So with all that said, Martin, I mean, it's hard to not consider Oklahoma State in the Big 12 a contender almost every year. But do you think they're a little bit lower than that this year because of all the turnover?
I think they're a big time risk, but I would buy them. I mean, they tied for first place last year and they had a 5 point something ERA, 5.5 ERA. I mean, I could talk a little bit about the guys that are coming back. Carson Bench, he's going to be he's like a fringe first round talent. First team All Big 12 2023 as a two-way player and second team as an outfielder. Was on the all freshman team. He's a right-handed pitcher and a left-handed hitter. Definitely more of a hitter. He had a 6.69 ERA as a starter. He's like the only guy coming back, and I don't know if they're gonna actually put him in the rotation. He hit 343.
Who was the All Big 12 freshman, the freshman of the year last year?
Nolan Schubart.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's really good. These are their two top of the line players.
Are there any transfers in that are notable names that we would know?
On offense, there's Lane Forsythe. I don't know if you remember him. He was the shortstop at Mississippi State when they won the national championship.
Yep.
Does his brother play, or does he have a family? He has to have a family member in MLB.
I think there's a Logan Forsythe, right?
Yeah. That sounds like a Tampa Bay Ray.
Yeah, it does.
He's expected to play shortstop. His bat really sucked at Mississippi State, but he's a good glove. He's going to hit at the bottom of the lineup. I really want to see how much his offensive numbers improve playing in Stillwater.
What do you think it's good for? What do you think that stadium is good for boost-wise? Does it take a 230 hitter to – or let's use OPS?
Probably more in the power side of things.
Yeah.
So does it take a 550 OPS? Oh, that sounds really bad. To a 700?
Potentially.
It could, yeah. I mean, they every guy on their team is slugging over 600. Tyler Wolfert was second team All Big 12 newcomer of the year. He slugged 620. Every guy in their lineup that's returning has more extra base hits than singles.
A bunch of Joey Gallows.
Yeah. Let's see. I think Nolan Schubert struck out 28% of the time last year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And his BABIP was 444. He does not steal any bases or hit into one double play. He reminds me a lot of Joey Gallo's minor league numbers. There's a guy named Aiden Miola. This guy, he's been there 2 years and he started 50 something games. He's hit 330, 368 on base and slugging 568. But he's always hurt. He had a thumb injury, and I read an article that said that he had 3 concussions in one calendar year.
God.
CTE.
From what?
I don't know. I think one time he got hit during batting practice or something.
He's swinging too hard.
So he's expected to play second base. There's a guy named Zach Erhard. He's their center fielder. He's a big range guy. He's their only speed threat. He's successfully stolen 29 bases in 34 attempts in his 2 years at Oklahoma State, which is not really a lot. This team does not steal bases. They attempted 59, and they successfully stole 51 last year. And I think 2 guys on TCU's team last year cover that.
They're they stay true to their 80s identity.
Yeah.
That's I mean, Holiday is their coach.
Yeah.
Colin Brueggerman. He's going to play first base this year. He played DH last year, but with Mendham leaving, he's going to take over the position. He's slugging 596 as well last year. I mean, it's like 6 guys that are sluggers on the team, and they strike out a shitload.
We just had a big influx of views come out, so I feel like we should reset. We're currently previewing Oklahoma State for those who just joined.
A guy that they picked up in the transfer portal, Ethan Bosacker, was from Xavier.
All 12 Big 12 all team name.
Would have been, but he got drafted by the Royals. Had he actually made it to campus, I think Oklahoma State probably would have been in a lot better shape with the rotation because he was really good pitcher in the Big East. And then the rotation is kind of a fucking shit show. I think the guy that they're relying on the most is a guy
I'm scrolling.
Yeah.
Man, that's what I'm going to title this episode. These 3 teams are kind of a shit show.
Brian Holiday, he was a JUCO transfer from Central Florida Junior College, helped his team to a national championship. He was the JUCO World Series most outstanding pitcher. Struck out 23 batters in 9 1/3 innings in the tournament.
I think that's pretty good.
23 batters in 9 1/3 innings.
I said I think that's pretty good.
It's insane.
I don't know about that. It is just JUCO.
Martin, what about some fun facts about Oklahoma State baseball?
Shit ain't fun, man.
All business up there in Stillwater.
Yeah. So Brian Holiday, Sam Garcia, he's a transfer from High Point. He had like a 1 point something ERA, 1.94 in 2022, but then he sucked in 2023 at High Point with, I think it was like an 8 ERA. They got some big stuff guys that sucked last year. Jansen Kiesel transferred from BYU last year. He posted a 7.85 ERA in 18 innings last year. He's expected to be in the rotation.
Oh my God! Yes.
Gabe Davis, he had a 7.92 ERA with 40 strikeouts in 25 innings. He might be a rotation arm.
And that guy killed some fantasy rosters this year.
Man, you're making me think Oklahoma State is going to be in that pesky category when they should be an annual contender.
See,
I think they're going to be a bottom beater.
This is one of the worst.
That's what I thought looking at that, but there's no way they can be as bad as last year. And if they are, they won the conference last year.
Yeah,
It's true.
they do a lot of winning up there. I think
It's just that ballpark, right? They just outslug you. They'll win games 11 to 7.
Let's see.
11
Martin,
to
do
8.
you have their road record handy?
No.
Their home and road splits?
No.
Hold on, I can pull it up. Well, that means y'all can keep talking in the meantime, but
I was pulling it up too.
So
hold on. I got it right here. So let's see. Loading. Stand by. All right. At home, they were 25-9. And on the road, they were 11-7. So yeah, pretty drastic split. I guess they played like their entire non-conference at home. Well, they also played 9 neutral site games. So
yeah, 9 neutral sites.
They were 5-4 neutral, 11-7 at home. So yeah, away from Stillwater, that's when you can beat them. But if you get them at home, yeah, that makes sense. They build their team around that ballpark.
I mean, smart, I guess.
Is it though? I mean, if you can't win a regional,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like Texas Tech, though, right? They do the same thing.
Yeah.
is it smart though if you can't win a regional?
You might want to look at your process of evaluating
Well,
talent.
it's not like they didn't try to bring in pitching. Like Jackson Watts Brown was, I mean, he was supposed to anchor. He was supposed to be like the Big 12 pitcher of the year last year.
Yeah. But I mean, he came over from the what was it, Long Beach State, where everybody bunts in the Big West.
Yeah, you're right. And
It's
you're
a
right
big-
about them. They don't win regionals, man. Let's see, 2020 was canceled, but let's see, 1, 2, 3.
2019 was their last win.
Yeah, they're 1-6 in their last 6 regionals.
That's
7
wild.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
wild.
Jacob, one of your really good friends
1-5.
is an Oklahoma State alum.
Yes.
What does he think of Holiday?
Yeah, so I was
you
actually
think-
even going to say I was going to make the comment their fans are kind of getting tired of him, and by fans I mean that one particular fan.
I've taken a straw poll.
But I guess if TCU could never get out of a regional, I'd probably be saying the same thing.
Sure.
And it's not even like just losing a regional. It's losing a regional game to the 4 seed.
Right.
That's like 45 minutes away.
I mean,
And then-
shouldn't the expectation when you're hosting a regional to win that regional? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you have every advantage.
Yeah.
You have the best, time slots. You're playing the 4 seed to start.
And
I mean, it's at your home, like you know your own ballpark, everything.
and I don't think the games were very close.
Dude, what was that crazy? What was the score of the Arkansas game 2 years ago?
Oh,
That
God.
was
It
insane.
was like 20-14 or something.
Let me see here. I've actually got the 22 schedule up. Yeah, they lost 14. Oh, no, they beat Missouri State. Okay, good. God, what a wild ass regional.
It was. I remember this.
So they beat Missouri State 10-5 in game 1.
And I think they had to come. I think they were down like 5-0, something like that.
They then lose to Arkansas 20-12 the next
Yeah.
day.
Lord.
And
then-
I think they were up big in that one.
And then they come out and beat Missouri State 29-15.
Okay, that's the one. Missouri State was up big, and they had to. God.
And then, so now they're playing Arkansas for the title. They go out and beat Arkansas 14-10 the next day.
It's
And then
that dude, ballpark's unreal.
Then they come back and lose 3-7 in the last game. But God, what a wild ass regional.
Yeah, I remember that one well.
So they lose the first game of the 2023 Stillwater Regional 6-4 to Oral Roberts. And then they lose game 2. They go 0-2 in their own regional.
That's
They went-
horrible.
They lose to Dallas Baptist 4-18.
Yeah,
right.
I forgot it was that bad.
That was so sad. There was nobody in the stands in that Dallas
Yeah.
Baptist game except
Dude.
for like the Dallas Baptist section.
Mm.
They're the 3 parents that went up to watch it.
I
It
mean,
was
when you
all
talk
Oral
about
Roberts fans.
when you talk about their regional lack of success, I'd be upset too. I think I'd be, what'd you say, 1-5 in the last 6 regionals, Jacob?
Yeah, it's 1-5.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Yep.
Are we as a podcast, are we calling for Holiday's job?
They'll win the conference again.
Hashtag
Why do I
Fire
care?
Holiday. Should we
Why
be the
do I
first
care if he
ones?
wants to lose a regional?
Yeah.
Breaking on Postgame Beers, Holiday will not be back in 2025.
Is Holiday like what's his name? Mike Gundy. They seem very similar.
I wonder if he points to like having the number 1 player in the class.
Okay,
Committed
it's
to
his
Oklahoma
freaking
State.
nephew. Okay, it's his nephew.
And his son too.
Oh yeah, they got another Holiday committed that'll go first overall. And
I wonder if he points
Yeah.
to that.
Is
And
that,
they're
third
like-
is that 3rd generation at this point?
Yeah, Tom Holliday was their coach in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. And Josh played for him as a college student.
Oh, there's no way he's getting a campus.
No.
No.
He might graduate early and enter the draft. But it's like, do you think he points to that and he's like, "Look, I'm such a great coach. I got the number one player," and it's his son.
It's like, no shit, you do.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he
what,
probably does.
what would the family tension be like if, like, Jackson Holiday committed to Oklahoma?
Coming back for Christmas dinner.
Be hilarious.
The NIL check. What do you want me to do?
They play SEC baseball.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else on Oklahoma State?
Yeah, Martin, you want to tie it up? Anything to leave us with?
How do you think they're going to do?
I mean, I think they're definitely a contender.
15-9 last year. You think they can't do worse? Is that what you're saying? In conference.
And see, it's weird now because everybody doesn't play everybody anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last year is a tough year to really judge because in that like the first time the conference winner didn't have at least 18 wins or something in like a long time. It was a weird year.
Yeah, your friend Tom put that together, right?
Yeah.
As a magical number.
Yeah, got to get to 18. But last year was just weird.
I mean, I definitely see them finishing in like the top 3. But it is a different year than last year. Like last year, I think 3 teams just accidentally finished for first. Whereas this year, I think the Big 12 is more. I think they're more at the top of their development cycles. I think there's more teams at the peak of their development cycles, like TCU and Texas. I don't know if a team can accidentally win the conference again.
Would you, if I gave you the field and I took TCU in Texas, would you take that bet?
No.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty top heavy this year, but we'll get into more on that as we go.
You know, it makes me think that 3 through 5 is going to be pretty competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't even had our Texas or TCU preview yet, fellas. Let's hold the horses.
No, that's coming. Who do we have next week?
Gosh, I don't know.
Yeah. Next week.
Next week we have K-State, KU, and Cincinnati.
Thank God. I don't have none of those will be presented by Ray Cartwright. So y'all.
Oh, you have the bye week?
I've got the bye week.
Do I have Cincy? I might have Cincy.
Oh God, dude, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Just as much fun as Houston. You can come up with some fun facts. So, hey, question from Travis in the chat. Thanks, Travis, for joining. Which of the new Big 12 ballparks are up top of y'all's list for catching a game? So this year, I think we're kind of unfortunate with the schedule in that TCU plays Cincinnati and Houston, so they do not play BYU or UCF.
Fun fact, real quick: Cincinnati Reds are at home that weekend. That TCU goes up to Cincinnati, so you could double dip, try to catch Nick Lodolo.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think. Aren't they playing the Rangers, or do I have that wrong?
I don't.
That would be something.
No, I don't think
That would be a great little weekend right there.
I might be dreaming that, but so I took his question to mean any of the new stadiums to include like Utah, Arizona, Arizona State. So Martin and I actually saw a game at Arizona State a few years ago. It's a pretty cool complex, but it's like off-site municipal stadium. They do a really good job of like highlighting the history of Arizona State baseball because there's very few programs that have more history than Arizona State.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, but I wouldn't like say you have to go see a game at Arizona State. Martin, would you agree?
Do you? Only if TCU is playing.
Yeah.
I think everyone should go see a game at BYU.
So BYU is obviously a pretty popular choice, but I'm looking at this Utah ballpark. They have a natural grass field with the same. Yeah, it looks amazing.
I think they play at the AAA ballpark that the Bees
that makes sense because this looks like a really top-notch facility.
Yeah, it's a AAA ballpark, and they're building their own next year.
Dang, that's a shame because this one's really nice. But
I think it's off-site, so that kind of sucks too.
Yeah, well, that's a bummer. I don't know much about Arizona's park.
I just Googled it. There's not much going on there. Not really missing too much.
I think it's pretty mid.
I guess as far as like destinations go, obviously Orlando's fun, but I would love a weekend in Cincinnati.
Cincy, I think Cincy would be a kind of a dark horse for a really fun trip.
At least
Okay, why?
Definitely not Houston. Houston's at the bottom of every
Oh,
big.
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
probably never go to Houston.
Yeah.
I hate going to Houston.
No.
Why is Cincinnati? It just
Just
seems.
because, I mean, it's a pretty major city. They have a major league team in the city. I mean, you can find fun in any city.
Yeah,
It's
and
in the city, which is
really-
cool. It's a bigger town. I've never been there before. It'd be kind of fun.
I really like
Stadium looks
that
pretty
kind
cool.
of Midwest vibe. Like
Yeah.
I went to Pittsburgh last year. It's pretty cool. And then it's kind of south. It's kind of southern and Midwest. So it's either Cincinnati or BYU.
Yeah. For
Is
sure.
is Kansas? Are they doing ballpark renovations?
It seems like every program in the country is except for us.
Yeah.
Kansas included it ballpark renovations with their football renovations. Have you seen the
Yes.
Birdcage Stadium that they're building?
It's supposed to. I mean, it kind of looks like Amon G, to
Amon.
be honest.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but with those,
Yeah, it has those same big
it looks kinda
beams
like a
coming
cage.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that improvement money bond or whatever, they included pretty much every other sports complex that they have. So the baseball stadium is supposed to get like $40 million or something to do renovations, but I don't know when they're actually going to do it because that bond thing came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
I think we can get Kirk on before the season starts, and I wonder if he would give us some kind of insight into stadium renovations for Lupton because it needs.
Well, Jeremiah did when we had him on.
Yeah,
He
sort
said
of.
it's not happening.
No, he didn't say that.
He didn't say
Not
that.
anytime soon.
Yeah,
Anytime
everything I've seen
soon.
is
Well,
like
they've been- I
imminent.
mean, they just finished the campaign for the strength and conditioning center and all that. You probably just don't want to talk about another big major project.
I think they want people to focus on NIL right now.
Every school is going to have a 5 and 10 year plan, and it's guaranteed to be on there. It's just when, and they may have not had made the decision of should we upgrade the current Lupton or rebuild,
Right.
because that's a huge difference.
Yeah,
right?
all they have to do is renovate the current spot. I mean, it's a pretty nice facility. It's just falling behind other schools now.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, what else? I'm getting hungry.
Back to y'all's Arizona discussion where they played. Jackson had a really funny comment.
Yeah, that's funny. Says Arizona just plays at whatever field in town isn't reserved.
Last question for you guys. Who's going to have a better year? Alan Bowman back for his 7th season at Oklahoma State, or Will Howard at Ohio State?
Will Howard.
Will Howard.
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 That's wild to me. Oh, what else before we head out of here, fellas?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you
Let's
for
call it.
listening to Postgame Beers podcast, especially those of you live tonight. I appreciate you, Jackson, William.
Yeah, we had a good attendance tonight. That's fun.
Damon, Michael Silva jumped on for a second. TikTok Tim. Join us
Shout
on
out
YouTube.
Travis.
Subscribe to LDC on YouTube, Lupton Beers on Twitter and Instagram. Appreciate you guys. Excited for our next pod. We're going to preview 3 more schools. We might have even a midweek in between to bring on a special guest. So stay tuned and keep subscribing. Appreciate you guys. Go Frogs.
Go Frogs.
Go Frogs.
Go Frogs.